Something else you have to see and a place you have to visit. If you haven't been to Playhouse Square yet, well, this is the perfect time to go because now on stage is an uplifting musical that shares the story of how a community came together in the shadow of a terrorist attack. Welcome Chamblee Ferguson and Christine Toy Johnson. It is good to have you both here in town. How are you enjoying your stay so far in Cleveland? You just got here.
Well, it's a very exciting time to be here, so we're happy to be a part of it.
So this show, Come From Away, it is really in regarding those hours right after the 9/11 attacks. And for those who really don't understand what the show is about, I'll let one of you, if you want to, just explain and give us a little synopsis first.
Well, on 9/11, when American airspace was closed, 38 planes that were inbound to the United States were diverted to Gander, Newfoundland in Canada. And overnight, this small town of about 9,000 people took in 7,000 guests from around the world. And for 5 days and nights, fed them, housed them, cared for them, helped them heal. And it's really a remarkable story of how a whole other country took in people from around the world and took care of them with kindness and compassion.
I mean, it's incredible when you think about that. I mean, these planes, no one knew who was on these planes potentially. And Canada was willing and with open arms to say, come here, be here, we'll take care of all of you until everything starts to die down some.
Exactly, and you know what's really remarkable is these are all true stories that the musical is based on. David Hein and Irene Sankoff took these interviews with people and made this beautiful show about it. We have had the great good fortune of meeting many of the people who the characters are based on, and they all say, you would have done the same. We just did what we needed to do, and it's an amazingly heartwarming story to know and share.
I talked with Captain Beverly Bass about a month ago. She was one of the pilots who was on one of those planes, landed a plane there. But she said, watching this, she has seen it, I think, over 130 some times. For you to be able to play these roles and have those audiences feel what you feel, I've heard that it is the most, when we said uplifting, I think it's even an understatement. You have people walking out of there just changed by this experience.
You know, I think that especially these days when there's so much divisiveness, it is such a gift, really, to give and receive this story where we can illuminate how our better angels can come out, and we can treat each other with intentional compassion and kindness, and see what comes from it.
And what are your roles in the play?
Well, we all portray multiple characters. My main character is Nick Marson.
And I play Diane Marson. Spoiler alert, they have the same last name. And they did not have the same last name when the play began.
Yeah, so
really?
In the midst of all that tragedy, two people meet in Gander, and a spark takes place, and they fall in love. So we're kind of the love story of the play.
And speaking of Nick and Diane, the real Nick and Diane, they just saw their 100th show of Come From Away when we were all together in New Orleans. So
have you ever heard any other, I mean, I've never heard of someone going and seeing a show, especially if it was based on their lives, that many times. I just think it speaks to how this show affects people.
Yes, you know, Diane says it's like they're renewing their vows every time they see the show. So, you know, it's really beautiful.
No pressure on us.
It's so beautiful.
None at all.
Right.
What would you both want people to take away from seeing this?
I think that in this environment in the United States in which we live, and actually in this entire world right now, we're needing a story about compassion and kindness and generosity. There seems to be a lack of that, and I think this story helps fulfill that need. We would love people to come see this, and it seems like that almost all audiences leave with a real, as you said, an uplifted spirit.
You know, it's really changed us as cast members, and we're always trying to now pay it forward. And in fact, we have an opportunity to do that for our friends at the Gander Legion in Newfoundland. Here in Cleveland, we're doing a benefit to help them out on July 22nd at Pickwick and Frolic. And so the Gander Legion is featured in our show, and they do such beautiful work in support of veterans and community service. And so
that's so special to be able to give back to those people who gave so much to so many Americans. during one of the worst times in our nation's history. I mean, it's just a remarkable thing. It's an hour-and-a-half long show, no intermission. So, gentlemen, I know that sometimes the gentlemen, staying through intermission can be difficult. This is a beautiful, uplifting show that will, I think, will keep you on the edge of your seat the entire time. Thank you both so much for being here. It's here for 3 weeks, so go and see it at Playhouse Square. Okay.